My husband thought I didn't notice. I smiled. I cooked. I asked about his day. He said, "You've been amazing lately." I nodded like a fool. But inside, I was already planning something. It started with something small. Too small to matter unless you knew what you were looking at. Matthew left his tablet on the kitchen counter while he went upstairs to shower. It lit up for half a second. Just enough. "Jessica, miss you already." I didn't react right away. I just stood there, staring at the screen like it might change if I waited long enough. It didn't. I tapped it. There wasn't much to scroll, but there didn't need to be. "Last night was worth it. You left your jacket here. Text me when you get home." Nothing dramatic. No big confession. Just enough to make everything clear. And the weird part is, I didn't feel angry. Not at first. It felt more like something clicking into place. Like all the small things I'd been ignoring suddenly made sense. The late nights that didn't line up. The way he started putting his phone face down. The way he'd smile at nothing. I kept telling myself it was work. He's a general manager. Busy. Stressed. Always dealing with something. That's what I believed. Until I didn't. The shower was still running upstairs. The house felt quiet in a way it never had before. Like I was the only one who knew what was actually happening. I put the tablet back exactly where it was. Same position. Same angle. Then I sat down at the table and just breathed. Because leaving right then would have been easy. Too easy. And I didn't feel easy. I felt stupid. Like I'd been standing in the middle of something obvious, pretending not to see it. So I didn't confront him. I wish I could say that was strength. Or strategy. It wasn't. It was something quieter. Something colder. I wanted to understand everything before I decided what to do with it. When he came downstairs, he acted normal. Asked if I wanted coffee. Kissed my cheek like he always did. I looked at him and thought, "You really think I don't see you?" But I smiled anyway. That was the moment everything changed. Not when I found out. When I decided to stay quiet. And I didn't just stay quiet. I became better. I started asking about his day again. Not casually, but like I actually cared about every detail. I cooked meals he liked, even the ones I'd stopped making months ago. I laughed more. Touched him more. Paid attention. And he noticed. That's what messed with me. He leaned into it. Became warmer. More present. Like I had somehow fixed something between us, while he was still seeing her. One night, he looked at me across the table and said, "I feel like we're good again." Good again. I smiled and said, "Yeah, me too." But inside, something about that felt wrong. Not just because he was lying. Because it was working. I started paying attention after that. Not in a dramatic way. I didn't go through his phone every night or follow him around. I just watched. Listened. Patterns started to show up. He had late meetings twice a week. Always the same days. He'd come home relaxed, not tired. His phone would buzz, and he'd shift slightly away from me before checking it. Subtle. But not subtle enough. I always noticed. And then I found her. Jessica Baker. It didn't take much. Her name wasn't common, and she didn't exactly hide online. Public profile. Pictures from work. Selfies. Little captions about her day. Receptionist. Same office building Matthew's company worked with. That part made everything make more sense. I scrolled through her page slowly. Not reacting. Just taking it in. She looked normal. Not better than me. Not worse. Just real. And that made it worse. Because now there wasn't anything I could point to and say, "That's why." She wasn't some fantasy. She was a choice. I should have stopped there. Closed the app. Confronted him. Ended it clean. Instead, I followed her. Not from my real account. I created a new one. Michelle Edwards. It took longer than I expected. Setting it up, making it look real. A few posts. Some random follows. Enough to pass. Then I followed her. She followed back almost immediately. And then she messaged. "Hey, do I know you?" I stared at that message longer than I should have. Because that was the moment everything could have stopped. I could have ignored it. Deleted the account. Walked away. Instead, I replied, "I think we have mutuals. You work in that office building on Atlantic, right?" She answered right away. "Yeah. Small world LOL. And just like that, I stepped into something I didn't fully understand yet. At first, it was simple. Small talk. Where we worked. How long we'd been in the area. Normal conversations. I told myself I was just gathering information. That I needed to understand what I was dealing with. But it didn't stay that simple. She was nice. That's the part one didn't expect. She wasn't calculating. She wasn't trying to take anything. She just talked. About her job. Her coworkers. The things that stressed her out. And sometimes, about him. Not directly. Just enough. "I've been seeing someone, but it's kind of complicated. He's really busy, so it's hard sometimes." I never asked who. I didn't need to. I already knew. And that's when something shifted. Because now I wasn't just watching anymore. I was inside it, talking to her, learning about the version of him she saw. While he was still coming home, kissing me, asking about my day like nothing had changed. Like I wasn't sitting right in the middle of everything. And for the first time since I found out, I didn't feel like the one being fooled anymore. It didn't feel wrong at first. That's how I justified it. Talking to her became part of my routine. Not constant, not obsessive. Just enough that it felt normal. She'd message about work, about her day, about nothing important, and I'd respond like any other person would. Maybe a little too well. She told me about the office. The people coming in and out. The slow mornings, the long afternoons. And sometimes, she talked about him. Not by name. But I knew. There's this manager who comes in a lot, she wrote one afternoon. He's actually really nice. Like, not fake nice. I stared at that message for a second. Then I typed back, those are rare. That was the first time I felt it. That shift. Because I wasn't just listening anymore. I was helping shape what she thought of him. At home, Matthew leaned into me more. That part still didn't make sense. The more attentive I became, the more he responded. Like he needed both sides of his life to feel stable. Like he was balancing something, and I was making one side easier for him. One night, we were sitting on the couch, and he pulled me closer without warning. I feel like we're back, he said. Back. I rested my head against him, my phone buzzing quietly in my hand. It was her. I think he's pulling away a little. I don't know. I didn't answer right away. Because in that moment, something clicked that I couldn't ignore anymore. I had influence. Not just over him. Over her too. And once I realized that, everything changed. I didn't go all in right away. I wasn't reckless about it. I started small. Careful. Controlled. When she told me he canceled plans, I said, "You deserve someone consistent." When she said he seemed distracted, I replied, "If it feels off, it probably is." I never told her what to do. I just made her question things. At the same time, I did the opposite at home. If he pulled away, I leaned in. If he seemed distracted, I made things easier. I asked about his day, listened longer, made him feel comfortable, safe. And it worked. She started doubting him. He started relying on me more. It was subtle at first. Almost unnoticeable. But then it grew. She'd message more often. "I don't think he's telling me everything. He says he's busy, but it feels weird. Am I overthinking this?" And I'd respond just enough. "Trust your instincts. People show you who they are. Don't ignore that feeling." Meanwhile, Matthew started coming home earlier on nights he didn't have to. Sitting closer. Talking more. Like something about his life was shifting, and he didn't even understand why. And I sat right in the middle of it. Quietly adjusting both sides. That's when I started to feel it. Not anger. Not even revenge. Control. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't reacting to what he was doing. I was deciding how things moved. And I won't lie. I liked it. That's the part one don't know how to explain without sounding worse than I probably am. Because it wasn't just about catching him anymore. It was about watching everything unfold exactly the way I wanted it to. Days turned into weeks like that. She'd send updates. He'd come home and act normal. And I'd sit there, shaping both sides without either of them realizing it. Sometimes she'd send pictures. Nothing inappropriate. Just her day. A coffee. A selfie. Something small. I'd look at them longer than I should have. Not comparing. Just understanding. She wasn't trying to take anything from me. She didn't even know I existed in the way I actually did. If anything, she trusted me. That made everything heavier. Because now this wasn't just about him lying. It was about me. And what I was choosing to do with it. One night, she messaged me later than usual. "I think something's wrong." I read it immediately. "What happened?" "He says he's working late again, but I don't know. It doesn't feel right." I stared at that message longer than I should have. Because it was so close to the truth it almost felt unreal. "He might be hiding something," I typed. That wasn't neutral anymore. That was a push. She replied instantly. "You think so?" I didn't answer right away. Instead, I looked up. Matthew was in the kitchen, scrolling through his phone, completely relaxed. Like nothing in his life was complicated. Like no one was questioning him. And that's when it hit me. He had no idea. No idea that the person sitting across from him knew everything. No idea that the person texting her was me. No idea that both sides of his life were starting to move against him, because of me. I looked back down at my phone. "If something feels off, you should trust that," I sent. She read it immediately. No response for a few minutes. Then, "Yeah, I think I need to talk to him." I set my phone down after that. Because I knew what was coming next. And for the first time, I felt something close to hesitation. Not because I felt bad. Because I realized I had just crossed a line I couldn't step back from. At home, he walked over and kissed the top of my head. "What are you thinking about?" he asked. I looked at him for a second. Then I smiled. "Nothing," I said. "Just tired." That night, I didn't sleep much. Not because I was anxious. Because I was waiting. The next day, he came home different. Later than usual. Tense. Distracted. He barely looked at me when he walked in. I didn't ask anything. I didn't need to. A few minutes later, his phone buzzed. He picked it up too fast. Turned slightly away from me. Typing quickly. Pausing. Typing again. Then he exhaled, like something had gone wrong. That's when I knew. She had done it. She confronted him. And just like that, everything I had been controlling so carefully started to break. He didn't confess right away. That would have been easier. Instead, everything shifted in small, uneven steps. His tone changed. His movements felt off. Conversation stopped halfway through like he forgot what he was saying. It was subtle, but I had been watching too closely for too long to miss it. That night, he sat across from me at the table, barely touching his food. I let the silence sit there. Let it stretch until it became uncomfortable. Finally, he said it. Something weird happened today. I looked up calm. What do you mean? He hesitated. Someone at work kind of accused me of something. I nodded slowly, like I was trying to understand. What kind of something? He rubbed the back of his neck. Nothing serious. Just misunderstanding. I held his gaze a second longer than usual. Are you sure it's nothing? He looked away first. That was the moment I knew he wasn't in control anymore. From there, everything slipped. His stories didn't line up the way they used to. The confidence in his voice was gone. Every explanation felt like it was being built while he said it. A few days later, he finally broke. Not cleanly. Not completely. Just enough. I need to tell you something, he said, standing in the doorway like he wasn't sure he should even come in. I was sitting on the couch, phone in my hand. My real account. Not Michelle Edwards. Just me. I looked up. Okay. He sat down across from me, elbows on his knees, staring at the floor. I messed up. Simple. Controlled. Too small for what it actually was. How? I asked. I was talking to someone. From work. Talking. I almost laughed. For how long? A few weeks, he said too quickly. I let the silence sit. Because we both knew that wasn't true. He kept going. It didn't mean anything. It just happened. I wasn't thinking. I watched him carefully. Because I had seen everything. The messages. The timing. The way it wasn't random at all. But I didn't correct him. Not yet. Instead, I asked one thing. Does she know about me? He froze for half a second. Yeah, he said. Of course. That was the moment I decided. Because that wasn't just a lie. That was him assuming he still had control over the story. I leaned back slightly. Then I said it. She knows more than you think. He looked up confused. What does that mean? I held his gaze. I've been talking to her. Silence. Not confusion. Shock. What? I've been talking to her, I repeated. For a while. His face changed in a way I hadn't seen before. Not anger. Not guilt. Fear. How? He asked. I didn't answer that. I didn't give him Michelle Edwards. I didn't give him details. I just let it sit there. She told me everything, I added quietly. More than you ever would have. That wasn't completely true. But it didn't need to be. It was enough. He sat there, trying to put it together. Trying to understand how far it had gone without him realizing it. I don't understand, he said. Why didn't you just confront you? I cut in. He didn't answer. I nodded slowly. I wanted to see how far you'd go. That landed harder than anything else. Because it was honest. For a second, neither of us said anything. Then he asked, quieter this time. So what now? And that's when I realized something I hadn't admitted yet. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't even trying to win. I was just done. We're done, I said. No yelling. No drama. Just the truth. He tried after that. Not right away. But in the days that followed. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I thought I had control of it. I was going to end it. I listened to all of it. Because the truth was, he never had control. Not really. Not once I stepped into it. We separated a few weeks later. It wasn't messy. No big fight. Just distance that finally became permanent. He packed slowly. Like he thought I might change my mind. I didn't. Before he left, he asked me one last thing. Does she know who you are? I paused. Then I shook my head. No. That part was true. And I left it that way. After he was gone, I kept the fake account for a while. Michelle Edwards. I don't know why. Maybe because it felt like proof of something. Or maybe because I wasn't ready to let go of that version of myself yet. But eventually, she blocked it. No message. No explanation. Just gone. I don't think she ever figured it out. Sometimes I wonder what she would have said if she knew. Not about him. About me. Because yeah, he cheated. That part is simple. But I stayed. I didn't just stay. I watched. I listened. I stepped into it and started moving things around. I told myself it was about control. About not being the one left in the dark. But if I'm being honest, there was a moment somewhere in all of that where I stopped reacting and started becoming something else. Now I'm in Louisville. Small apartment. Quiet. I work. I come home. I don't think about it as much as I used to. He still reaches out sometimes. Messages I don't answer. Calls I don't return. Not because I'm angry. Because I don't have anything left to say. But every once in a while, late at night, I think about it again. About the messages. The conversations. The way I sat in the middle of everything and didn't stop it. And I realized something I didn't see before. I didn't destroy his life. I just stopped protecting him. And without that, everything fell apart on its own. So now I'm wondering, did I take back control of my life? Or did I cross a line I can't really come back from?